I didn't want to do it to them. They gave me no choice. Now, you're gonna get got.
That boy's thick.
What's up, my friends? How the hell are ya? Before we get into this, know that this isn't a political thing. I'm a comedian and a culture critic. I talk about stuff I like or stuff I find ridiculous. I found something ridiculous. Welcome back to another Fat Man Rant and Roast. It's gonna get a little spicy. You've been warned. Roll it, Dwight. We're not here to mess around today.
Get roasted.
So, smash like if you enjoyed the video, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to join the Thick Squad. I'd fucking love you forever, and you just can't put a price on love. You just can't. So, this past weekend, the Vanderbilt football team, who's 0-8 and absolute trash, they apparently had both their kickers get COVID at the same time. Isn't that about a bitch? I've noticed that COVID isn't very accommodating or respectful of our plans at all. COVID's all like, did you have something to do today? Is that right? Fuck your plans. See you in 2 weeks. So, being in a bind, they decided they were going to get creative. They went looking for a soccer player. Smart. They kick stuff too. So they ended up trying out the goalie from the girls' soccer team, Sarah Fuller. And I will say, apparently she's not a bad kicker. We couldn't possibly know that. We haven't seen her play. Football-wise, she hasn't really gotten to kick because, again, Vanderbilt's trash. Can't stress that enough. So they suited Sarah up and sent her ass on the field this past weekend to play Missouri. Yeah, unfortunately, Vanderbilt's in the SEC, so even though they're trash, the other teams are like the best in the country. Kind of an unfortunate situation. Well, they didn't get a chance to kick except for the second half kickoff. If you know football, you know what that means. That means their sorry-ass offense didn't even get close enough to try a field goal. You're a damn disgrace. But then the second half kickoff came, and it was her time to shine. So they trot her out there, and she does about a 30-yard squib kick. And before we go any farther, that is what she was trying to do. Her body was clearly positioned for a squib kick. My question is, why would they do a squib kick though? A squib kick is a strategic thing. You use it when you want to run out the clock or you need the other team not to return the kickoff. It's a short, low kick that pins the team in so they can't return the ball. They have to jump on it. Usually you do it to close out a game if you're up a few points. But starting off the second half down 21-0 makes no sense. You're giving the other team great field position for no reason. In my opinion, do you hear that? This is my opinion. They did it because they thought she couldn't kick it far and high enough for her team to get a good cover. So let's take a look at the most perfectly excellent football kickoff in history. I said it.
I said what I said.
Right? And as you can see, she goes up, she has a holder for some reason, and she does a standard-ass 30-yard squib kick. The other team falls on it. And even though it was what she was trying to do, the second I saw that kick, I was like, oh boy, there will be memes. There will be memes. And I was not disappointed. And it was because it was made into such a big deal, it really did seem pretty underwhelming. Oh, also, in case you're curious and care about the actual football game at all, Vanderbilt lost 41-0. So, real nail biter. Well, people made a huge fucking deal out of this, okay? Every headline all weekend was, Sarah Fuller, the first female football player. She's the best ever. This is historic, not clickbait. And it was everywhere. The news was all like, yeah, take that, you little bitch. You're gonna read this story. And I get it, okay? She's the first female to ever suit up in a Power 5 college football game. And that really is cool and all. Props. I've never kicked in a Power 5 college football game, so there you go. Fuck my life. But she's a girl. Okay, there it is. There's the cold water, okay? We'll get it over with like ripping off a Band-Aid. She's a girl. I can't believe we're still having this conversation in 2020, damn near 2021. Men and women are built differently. We just are. It's not sexist. It's not mean. It's a fact. It's science. And I get it. I've seen the news. Science is offensive, but only when you want it to be. But then, when you need science, it's like the most ironclad thing ever. But a girl could absolutely be a kicker or punter if she's the best of the best. So, it could happen. But past kicker and punter, that's never going to happen. There will never be a female football player who isn't the kicker or the punter. Period. Never. And even then, to be perfectly honest, there's probably a better option at kicker. Almost always. And no, I'm not mansplaining, I'm just explaining. Because that's a real word. Football just isn't a sport that women can play. It's just not. I don't know why that's such a big deal. Yes, there are certain things that men can do that women can't. Just a fact. Biology, bitch. Learn about it. It's not mean. I don't know how else to say it. There's stuff men can't do too. We can't do gymnastics in the Olympics. Only 16-year-old girls can. So there, burn on me. But guess what? I don't care. I'm resigned to the fact that I will never be an Olympic gymnast. Oh, and as you can imagine, the news outlets were just raging hard as a rock when this story came out. They're talking about how historic it is, how stunning and brave Sarah Fuller is, how many barriers she's breaking, how it was the most bestest kickoff in all of football history, how female football players are the future. You know the deal. Their new team slogan is play like a girl. Oh my God. Where am I right now? Is anything real? Who are you? Where's my dog Ranger? What have you done with him? I don't think you needed to tell him to play like girls. They're 0-8. They're already doing it. So they put all their chips in on this Sarah Fuller thing. And she's already won like 3 awards. She kicks 130-yard squib kick on an 0-8 football team. Now she's on a press tour. She's won like 3 awards, including the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week and a Courage Award. Because that's real. I didn't even know they made participation trophies for adults. Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously? Okay, I'm not trying to be a dick. She kicked a squib kick, okay? This just in, it's not a hard thing to do. And I'd like to remind you, it didn't lead to jack shit. The team lost 41-0. The head coach has already been fired, and players are now opting out because they don't think the football team is prioritizing winning. I don't blame them. It sure doesn't seem like they care about winning. They're 0-8, and all they seem to give a shit about is what? The 3rd or 4th string kicker? You've got bigger fish to fry. How about win a fucking game? And now, between the Wuhanic plague and all the new opt-outs, they don't have enough people to field a team. So that could prove to be a problem going forward. And they were supposed to play the Georgia Dogs at Georgia this weekend. Ooh, that would have been a massacre. But they had to cancel the game because they didn't have enough players to bring.
Forfeiting the championship match.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
So you've got to see where the players are coming from. They have one shot to prove that they're good enough to make it to the pros. If you miss that shot, everything you've worked for your entire life is gone. Wasted. They can't afford to waste this on a publicity stunt. So if this is a great success, I'd hate to hear your definition of a tragedy. Also, Sarah's a little cringy herself. She seems sweet enough, but she's a little cringy. Apparently she gave a motivational speech at halftime, even though she hadn't set foot on the field yet. Not to mention she just met these dudes because she joined the team a week ago. Apparently she gave a speech to her teammates about not cheering for the team enough. Because if you didn't know, more cheering automatically means you're better at football. Duh. Okay, so she leaned into this shit, right? She's buying into her own hype. I don't feel nearly as bad now. Again, no offense. You can look at this however you choose to look at it. But in my opinion, this was just a publicity stunt. It felt like watching a Make-A-Wish commercial. It seemed like they knew they were doomed for the year and just wanted to get some good press out of it. Maybe they figured they'd try to salvage something. Anything. Yeah, I know that our only job is to be good at football, but come on. Empowerment. I assume it was to save their jobs and their asses. And it's not really working. Wouldn't y'all be embarrassed if you were her? I would. I don't mean any offense to Sarah, but I would be embarrassed if they asked me to kick for a week just so they could get the Most Woke Football Team award. Nah, I ain't gonna be your show pony to save your jobs. Kick rocks. Anyways, my last point to make is, have y'all seen DK Metcalf? He's a receiver for the Seahawks. That motherfucker is huge. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's built like a brick shithouse. And not only that, he runs a 4.3 40 and plays wide receiver. Yeah, it's terrifying. He is a freak of nature. He's an athletic specimen, okay? Now, have y'all seen Rodrigo Blankenship? He's a kicker for the Colts. And as you can see, he's a normal looking ass dude with some unnecessarily large glasses. I mean, look at those fucking things. What are those? The Costa Del Mar pussy repellent 4000s? I'm just kidding. I bet you he cleans up with those things. Don't sleep on my boy Rodrigo.
He's got more babes than he can handle.
Come on, that guy. Now you're just lying to prove a point.
He pulls, Jake. He pulls.
Glasses aside, those two men play the same sport. Professionally, that's right. This one and this one. And they're both really good at their jobs, and neither one could do the other's job. But, as Meek Mill would say, there's levels to this shit. Okay, I'm a former kicker myself. I was all-state and had plenty of college offers, but it's no big deal. So if anyone is allowed to say the following statement, I am. Kickers are not football players. Plain and simple. We're not football players, we're specialists. We run out on the field, we kick the ball, and then we bring our ass back to the sidelines with our hand warmers and AirPods. Again, there's levels to this shit. I can tell you personally, as a kicker, I wouldn't be caught dead telling the linemen to cheer for me more. They'd probably stuff me in a locker or some shit. Have you ever seen what happens when one of us kickers has to do something actually football related? It usually leads to absolute tragedy. We usually end up looking like toddlers getting thrown into a crib by a grown-ass man. Sometimes they'll make a good tackle, or they'll make a good run or throw off a fake punt. I get it. But that's about the extent of it. Point is, I could teach DK Metcalf how to kick good enough eventually. I can never turn Rodrigo Blankenship into DK Metcalf. And it's not just the fact that kickers aren't football players anyway, but she got in the game to do one 30-yard squib kick on a trash D1 team because all the real kickers got COVID. And now everyone's nominating her for awards and carrying her on their shoulders like she's fucking Rudy. I'm not trying to hate on the girl or be a dick for no reason. She seems nice, and apparently she is a decent kicker, even though I heard her longest field goal made was a 38-yarder. Yikes. And apparently, she's an amazing goalie on the soccer team. I hope to see her wearing the fucking red, white, and blue in the World Cup one day. The men's team is absolute garbage. Y'all are our only hope. And as far as football goes, hell, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest to see her at the fucking Heisman ceremony this year. You haven't heard the end of Sarah Fuller or the complete overpraise of female kickers. Not by a long shot. I'd also like to get this out of the way. Women are amazing. They have nothing to prove. They're incredibly valuable and necessary to our society. I'd be fucking dead without the women in my life. Anyways, congrats on your success, Sarah. But let me know when you're starting at middle linebacker. Then, and only then, will we have the discussion on whether women can play football too. Why are they so obsessed with being able to play football? It's really not that exciting. They crush each other for a living. The only girl who can play real football, besides Tom Brady, is the Icebox. End of story. Boy, I hope somebody gets that reference. I'm not that old, am I? That's right, I'm still here. And if you're still here with me, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you because I care about the fans and the fans only. Mostly because I never stand a chance at monetization ever. But money's overrated, right? And it can't buy happiness, as they say. It's a good thing too, because if it could, I'd be fucking miserable.